Okay, so there's a few dates I've already flagged as part of this prophecy of Jacob and Nathan, and today is Wednesday the 31st of January 2018. The name Jacob has a value of 31, and that is the temperature in Darwin today, 31 degrees, as well as Perth. And there's 3 more dates left now that I'm flagging. One of them is Wednesday 7th of February 2018, that's a week from now, and that will be the 9th anniversary of Nathan's death. So 9 years ago it will be since Nathan died, and he died in the Black Saturday bushfires. So that anniversary is on Wednesday the 7th of February this year. About 9 days later it's Friday, well, it is 9 days later, Friday the 16th of February is the anniversary of Ash Wednesday. And strangely enough, the anniversary of Black Friday, 13th of January, fell on a Saturday this year. So Nathan has a strong connection to Darwin, where it's 31 degrees today. He was a frequent visitor there from Victoria. And so let's have a look at what's happening with the weather right across Australia at the moment. On Wednesday, 31st of January, 2018.
The active monsoon, a tropical low-pressure system, has been driving in flooding rainfall to you in Darwin. Take a look at these images coming into us now. We've seen another 40 millimetres in the gauge overnight. Dangerous surf conditions continuing. Also, major flooding is continuing today for the Daly River. We'll be keeping you updated here throughout the day on Sky News Weather. Please remember, if it is flooded, to forget it. Now, showers and rain are easing back.
So like I said, 31 in Darwin today, and it's hot in Brisbane as well. I think Brisbane's 34 today. Sydney's cooler. Sydney's down to 22. It's quite cool in Sydney. 24 in Canberra today. Melbourne 19. Hobart's down to 17. Snow on Mount Wellington. Adelaide 2 is cooler, 24. Now Perth, I might play this bit because Perth, there's a couple of bushfires there yesterday. And it's also 31 there today.
And off. And of course, all eyes were on WA yesterday. We did have those bushfires burning out of control in Gidgegannup, Augusta, and of course Perth. Now, in terms of the weather today in Perth, we do have gusty winds forecast, particularly by the Hills region. They'll be getting up to 60 kilometres per hour, so not good in terms of the bushfire efforts, but it is nice to see those fires have been contained. 31 degrees, warm, dry easterly winds. Hopefully the sea breeze kicks in, providing a bit of relief. With the slight chance of showers on Saturday, really not too much in it. Temperatures will be dropping on Sunday.
The Daly River burst its banks over the last few days. In fact, on yesterday, around 12:30 a.m. in the morning, it reached major flood levels. This is a vision of the Daly River in the Northern Territory. This caused the evacuation of the town around Daly. Over 300 residents have been evacuated from that area, and you can see why. A lot of flooding, not just for that region, which actually the river is still currently rising, in fact, as water gauges downstream currently rise, but we're also seeing that there's a lot of road over infrastructure and roads in that entire region. In fact, Main Roads Western Australia also saying that much of the Great Northern Highway around the Kimberley is also closed, and you can see why over the last 7 days. This area has been getting so much rainfall, very, very active bursts of the monsoon. If I make it technical for 1 second, the Madden-Julian Oscillation has been over the Australian waters, and that's also what's caused this particularly intense burst of the monsoon. You can see totals over 500 millimeters last week for places like Darwin. Broome, in the midst of not only its wettest January on record, but its wettest ever calendar month on record. Very close to an entire meter of rain falling this whole month. We can't forget about what's happened over the southeast. Band of rain, heavy rain at times as well, particularly around eastern Victoria, where they got totals upwards about 30 to 50 millimeters, and also eastern Tasmania. So that was actually welcome for some of those areas. Let's take a look at what's happening around the nation across the rest of the day and then into the week. We do have that tropical low that's been inundating Broome, continuing to bring rain. That'll shift, though, towards South Australia by the end of the week. The end of the week as well also heralds quite an extensive rain event for central and eastern parts of parts of Queensland. You can see over here what's happening is we have cooler southerlies meeting those tropical northerlies, and it's causing explosive amounts of rainfall around central parts of Queensland. So if you're in the Central Highlands and Coalfields district, right around the Capricornia area, and straight up into the tropics, you'll get a second burst of very, very heavy rainfall. The monsoon, however, easing back slightly this week because, again, that Madden-Julian oscillation, that climate signal, moving further away into the Pacific. So because of that, we're not going to see that active monsoon for the entire rest of the week. But it is sticking around for a few more days. Wednesday, today, still sees the monsoon fairly active over the north of the country, easing back for the top end, sticking around for the Kimberley, and also for the Cape York Peninsula over there. You can also see western parts of the nation, interior part, getting fairly heavy rainfall. Then on Thursday, we're also going to get some rain and showers developing in southeast Queensland with a southerly change cooling things down, but things really start to ramp up as those southerlies meet the northerlies. And then take a look at this, a very wide extensive area possible for that rainfall. Now it's rain, showers, and storms. So some areas will get nice consistent rain, other regions patchy falls and totals there. Now let's shift away. You can see the Downs really not getting too much of that rainfall at all, predicted to get less than 5 millimeters out of that. Showers for the New South Wales coast. And you can see this region over here. Now this is inland parts of Queensland, Central Highlands, up into the parts of the Herbert and Lower Burdekin region, and you can see some parts of the tropical tablelands getting fairly wet there, shifting on Sunday further to the north. And as we get into Monday, everything is going to change itself to the tropics yet again as high pressure begins to build over the south. So this is the rainfall over the next 8 days. Very, very heavy rainfall on the way for northern parts of the country. It's still the Queensland Peninsula there. Monsoon easing back Wednesday into Thursday for the top end, sticking around western Kimberley. Rain spreading into the interior of Western Australia over the course of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And from Friday onwards, we have what looks like a fairly substantial rain event on the way for central parts of Queensland. Rather unusually, we had several major bushfires starting yesterday morning in the southwest of Western Australia. The Augusta fire was brought under control later in the day, but not unfortunately after burning through a few out sheds. As you can see there, no lives were lost or anyone was injured, but it still did tear through a bit of property in the region. We also had a fire starting in the western parts of Perth and Kings Park region, and unfortunately that was quite a big blaze that was during peak time. It was brought under control, however. It's been a very wet month for the southwest. We've had some pretty significant rainfall events earlier this month, and that has amounted to one of the wettest Januaries on record for some areas such as Bickley. Now it's not quite reflected in that vegetation index here because this is average, unfortunately, for December, so it's quite out of date right now. You can see how we did see a drying trend around here, that dry area. So there are areas of the southwest which are prone to major bushfires. It's because it has been dry there over the last few months in general, although it's fairly usual for this time of year. All right, let's take a look at the fire danger indices because we have this high pressure system building in the Great Australian Bight today, and that is bringing a very gusty offshore flow across the west coast. You can see just how stacked those isobars are. That's leading an offshore gradient, and we don't really have too much of a sea breeze developing as well. So because of that, we have high to very high fire danger across Western Australia today. Also fairly gusty and dry southerly winds across the east here. That's also causing that elevated fire danger some parts of South Australia and Queensland. And it's fairly hot today in Queensland, though. It's also fairly muggy. Now let's take a look further ahead. That trough continuing to stick around the eastern inland. Southerlies building throughout the coast, busting out that heat and clearing that fire danger. We do have still some pretty hot conditions across the west there. You can see that offshore flow continuing. Heat right on the western coastal fringe. That'll cause that fire danger to be elevated, but no significant fire danger in the next 3 to 4 days.